Looks like we're live. Yo, a couple people joining. Oh, what's up, man? So yeah, it looks like we got a few people that are gonna join today. We had a last minute change of plans, and we're gonna do Mark's ME Customz SB Jordan Low pattern, which is new. And I mean, so new, like this thing's not out for another week or 2 weeks or however long. So this is kind of, we're beta testing it slash you know, using it as our project. So I figure what we'll do is we'll use this one, and we'll make my wife a pair of Jordan 1 lows that'll match the dunks that I made, that match her bag that I made. So like that dark olive with a little orange tab, or heel tab, and black quarter panels, and maybe these olive soles here. So we'll see. These soles are Jordan 1 grade schools, as opposed to like you know, full on adult ones. See if I have adult ones, I can show you the difference. What's up, man? So we've got Jordan 1 grade school, and we've got Jordan 1 adult. These are both size 5.5. Oh, am I still live? I hope I'm still live. Check and see if I'm still live. I'm not really showing this on my computer right now. Mobile live dashboard. Oh, that's a thing. Okay, thanks, man. I don't know why it says your browser encountered an error while decoding the video. Wonder if I just refresh it. There we go. Okay, so anyway, I've showed you guys this on Instagram before, and Mark was actually the one that turned me on to this. He's the guy that made these patterns that we're gonna use, but he was telling me that he made his first ones for his girl that were like size 4, and he was having trouble getting those to fit inside the last to fit inside the soles, until he realized there's two different things, right? So you've got, they look the same, they're both size 5.5, length is the same, but the width, as you can see, is different. So if you look at the joint, which the joint is going to be the widest part of the sole here, you can tell that this is significantly wider than this one. But other than that, they're largely the same. So we've got the adult size last here. We've got the grade school size last here. It's a little more apparent on the last than it is on the sole. So like they're somewhat significantly narrower. Anyway, I'm gonna try to do this pattern with a grade school last. I don't think they're gonna be a lot different, outside of maybe leaving a little less, or needing a little less room in the lasting allowance. But I think this should be fine. And I mean, if not, we'll find out. But you guys will, I mean, follow along the whole way anyway. So I guess what we've talked about is we're gonna do this as like an installment, right? Where Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this as an installment, or basically weekly. We'll work on it for a while and do it live, and then work on and then stop. Get back next week and next Wednesday, and pick up wherever we left off, and keep on working from there. I have to forewarn you that like most of this is boring. Like I honestly personally wouldn't want to watch it. I'd rather be doing it, but also I understand that there's like everybody from the Discord is like we're all like trying to learn or trying to help each other learn or whatever. So I mean that's what this is about in the first place. So if you're down, I'm stoked on you hanging out and watching. But if not, I've turned I flipped the switch so we can record these, and we'll have them be available to watch on demand afterwards. And then those are like they stay up for 14 days or something, and then what I'll do is take those down, put them on YouTube, and just keep them live. Maybe eventually we'll edit them or something like that, and turn them into some sort of tutorial. But I think eventually we'll probably do like full-on tutorial videos in the first place. I mean, part of the reason I don't do that is because it's a lot of work, and the other part of the reason is, like, I mean, I've only been doing this for however long. I mean, man, 8 months now or something like that. So it's not like I'm like a super expert at this stuff. I'm just a nerd, and I nerd out about everything I do. So it's not. Or I don't know, maybe eventually when I feel like super strongly expert, like I'll be able to put be confident in making like definitive, this is how you do this YouTube videos. But like this, I think this format of just hanging out and like making shoes and watching, and you guys, like, if you're in the chat and asking questions or whatever, then I think that'll work out really good. So like I said, if you got the attention span and want to hang out and watch, I'll be just working and can answer questions that are in the chat and stuff like that. And then if you don't have the attention span, we will probably have the recaps available on both on Twitch later on and on YouTube later on. So you'll be able to catch those and fast forward and whatever you want to do. So again, it looks like we have a bunch more people. We are doing Mark's ME Customz pattern for the SB Dunk Low, which is pretty exciting. I've never done not SB Dunk Low, SB Jordan 1 Low, which I've never actually done before, a Jordan 1 Low, but it's probably, or not probably, it isn't any different than doing a Jordan 1. Most of the process is going to be the same that you'll see here, and that as compared to what you'll see in whatever pattern you're using, or if you're doing a decon or whatever for a Jordan 1. I think outside of a couple of the bros in here doing the Jordan 4, almost everybody is starting out with Jordan 1s. So this will work out. I know that people have a bunch of different patterns. So we talked earlier about, some people have the shoe surgeon pattern that they got from school or that they bought, or some people have, or a lot of people have the ME Customz pattern. All the patterns are going to be patterns, man. They're all similar. I think probably part of the cool part about doing this SB low right now is that since most people are doing highs, it's gonna help things make sense to you without being like this prescriptive instruction, like do this, then do that, then do that. I feel like a lot of those of us that were in the class together, I feel like we started out with that kind of instruction, that like kind of prescriptive thing, where we were like, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is that. And part of that is like my doing. I helped. I made this like PDF. Here's the steps or whatever. But that was kind of just me learning in the first place, and a lot of these guys were learning with me. But that being said, it kind of got us cornered into this this is how we make a Jordan 1 rather than this is how we make some shoes, you know. So it wasn't until really like I was working on other stuff like dunks, and I was working on other people's patterns. So actually, particularly Zyler's patterns, that I really went from, okay, I know how to make a Jordan 1 to I know how to make shoes. And even then, like I said, I'm not much more experienced than almost all of you guys. I don't, like, anyone in here that's on this Discord right now, I don't have more than a year of I don't have a year more experience than you, because I don't have a year of experience with this. I do have a lot of experience compared to someone who's dabbling in it, because I like put a lot of time into it, but I'm still figuring things out too. So okay, we got this thing printed. Usually I wouldn't print this. Usually I would put it directly into my Cricut, my cutting software. That's another thing that we were talking about on the Discord earlier, is that I don't use a knife to cut my patterns, largely because I suck at it. Like, I'm really bad at it. Everyone was asking, what's the best knife, or what's the best technique for that. I am probably the wrong person to answer that question. Anyone that's on here that knows what they're doing with a knife and wants to speak up in the chat, like, please do so, because I don't. That's why I bought this machine. The machine is a Cricut Maker. They go for probably $300, $350 or something like that. Yeah, Eric, exactly, dude. Cricut Maker for the win. Like, went from jagged, terrible, like, all over lines, to these things look pro and are cut real well and look great. The only problem is it takes a little bit of time to set up, and it takes a little, I guess, software skills and that sort of thing. So there's a bit of a learning curve. I suspect a lot of what we're doing today is gonna be around that, just getting this pattern prepped, getting it ready to get into the software, trying to get some stuff cut, hopefully, and then we can probably move on to more exciting actual shoemaking stuff, probably in the next installment. But that was what like I said, it's we're gonna be doing this for a while. This is gonna keep going for a good long time. Obviously, it takes. The fastest I'm probably gonna do a pair of shoes usually is in about a weekend or so. And so if we break that out into an hour or two a week, that's gonna take us a few months, even if we're going pretty fast. So we're just gonna sit here, get into it, get working on stuff. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. So the Cricut Maker cuts all sorts of heavy stuff like leather. Yeah, Cricut Maker will cut leather. The any other Cricut does not. Mark is absolutely right in the chat there that you need to buy a lot of blades. You also need to buy a lot of mats. So here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna refresh this because I'm still not seeing my stupid video, but hopefully it's just not a bad connection. If I'm off or if I like drop out or something, someone hit me on text or Instagram or something like that. But so anyway, Mark was saying you need a lot of blades, you need a lot of mats. It costs a lot to use the Cricut Maker. It absolutely does. I think it's probably a little bit of a Ferrari solution, but it works really well. It cuts things perfectly. It doesn't probably save you that much time because it doesn't cut things really fast. It takes like four runs on a pattern piece to make a cut. So ultimately, like, it takes a while to get everything cut out. Probably about as much time as a knife does. So I wouldn't say it saves any time there. It costs a lot more. The precision is way better. But if you're doing like volume, if like anybody's thinking, okay, I want to do this as a business, or I want to make full size runs or something like that, you are probably better off with like a clicker press, or some other method. Like these drag knife plotters are good, and they a lot of people use them in industrial applications, but more for small run type of situations than for high production. So if it's like production, you want to just click, 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 stamp them out and do those. So okay, we got these things printed. Let's switch to a view so you guys can see them. And then I guess we can probably compare those to like the normal Jordan 1, similar Jordan 1 patterns. So a lot of times when you're going to get these patterns from like a digital download, which is not really a thing. So that's actually kind of one of the cool things that Mark's doing here, is that he's making these just a straight digital download. I think some people are worried about copyright, or not copy. I guess it can be copyright infringement. This is all. None of these things are anybody's copyright. This is Nike's copyrights, right? But so beyond all that conversation, it's more like people put a lot of work and effort into these things, and it takes a significant amount of time, like a serious amount of time, to make a pattern, and to like, how do you say that, to make a pattern, to grade it, etc. Like Mark's making these things from size 4 to size 13, and so that's like a serious amount of effort. And so understandable why some of the people that are making patterns are like, nah dude, I'm not gonna send my file to you, or a digital file that you could just like print out and whatever. But at the same time, like, we're in that kind of age, and that happens for a lot of other types of patterns. So like for handbags or something like that, I've gotten patterns and they'll just be a digital download. So I think it's pretty cool that these will be like that, and I suspect we'll see that and more of that in the future, as like our scene progresses a little bit. But we got to remember, like, this stuff is all new. You get go maybe a year ago, and none of this stuff even existed. It was still having to dig through cobbler shops and industrial supplies and stuff like that. So it'll be amazing to see what it will be like next year. Someone says, what silhouette you making on stream? Oh, we're making a SB Dunk Low. So anyway, there's another. I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, I got a pattern from. What are they called? They're in like Denmark. They're in some Scandinavian country, and they make Air Max 1 patterns. Studio EVB. Got it. And yeah, so I got a pattern from them, and that was the first one that I saw that was kind of this deal where you have multiple letter size prints, and then you're gonna have to like cut out and line up to make them work. Well, I guess that's kind of something I was getting at, and then I got sidetracked. How do I say that? One of the cool things about us doing SB low when everybody's actually like their projects are SB highs is that it's not instructive, like I said. So part of the reason there is like you end up with this whole like critical thinking set of skills that you create through these like trial and error with these shoes, that you kind of realize that. How do I say that? When I went into this, I was really concerned about, oh man, is this pattern like exactly the same size wings or as a Jordan 1 from the factory, or is this thing gonna fit this exact perfect way or compared to this other thing or whatever, and I guess what I'm getting at is, uh, this is all handmade stuff. If it's not that it's you want it to be off by any means, but at the same time, if you look at it and it looks good, it is good. Like you don't need to get the micrometer out and make sure that it's perfect, or like it makes sure that it's like 100% level, or whatever it is, which maybe you're not doing, but I was in the very beginning. I like had this idea that I needed to be like as scientifically perfect about this stuff as possible, and it actually messed me up. It made it so I got kind of real nervous when I was sewing, and I got or I don't know, and generally, like, once I kind of just chilled out about things, and once I just realized that, yeah, dude, if it looks right, like, I guess why I'm saying that is so, like, this liner piece, for example, if this liner piece is going to come in two pieces, uh, there's sort of these aligning marks that are marks that we will use later on. We'll use it as for our pen to mark the liner, while we're gluing the foam and things like that. But there's no like real like alignment marks to where I know for sure this is exactly the right place for this. That being said, this here will line up fine. Like, it will. I don't know. I mean, I don't have to measure it or trip out or whatever. I can just tape that, cut it, scan it, whatever I want to do. It's gonna line up fine. We've got a lasting allowance. We've got seam allowance. We've got enough room for to kind of pull things a little bit one way or another, to where I don't know. I guess if I'm trying to make it a tip here, it's just chill out a little bit, because it helped me a lot to just chill. All right, let's see. Get some tape out. Let's see. We'll see if I can find. This is a dunk pattern. That's a handbag pattern. There we go. So we can just show the difference between the dunk or the SB low pattern and the high pattern real quick. So this will be cool. We've got, let's see, this is the inside. So we got a medial quarter, which as we can see is more or less similar to the Jordan 1 high pattern, except for we've got a little bit more space on back here in the heel, for a smaller heel cap, which weirdly enough, or not weirdly enough, but I bet is probably a similar amount of space as the off-white one takes. How about exactly? So It's kind of interesting. Once you start being around these patterns a little bit, you start recognizing little pieces of them that are in each of them that you know, they kind of go together like Legos a little bit to build each part of it. So if you look at, now we've got the most of the quarter panel, and then we're going to end up having up here, we're going to have the little bump for the heel, which will be covered by the heel tab. Cool. And then this also is going to include the eyelets. Okay. So let's switch to the Cricut. Start getting into the boring stuff. Sorry guys. But this is kind of part of what we've got to do. So let's see. Switch to Can you guys see the Photoshop in the chat, or can someone let me know? Okay, sweet. Now let's see if I can actually work on that, or where that chat thing is. Thanks guys. As I figure this stuff out and we get more into it, I'm sure it'll be less of a problem, but for now you're gonna have to bear with me. Or you know what, actually I have a better idea. Let's switch back to this. You know what I just realized is, if you guys were gonna do this, you will, well, in the case of getting this from Mark, you would be getting a digital download. But in anyone else's case, if you're getting this from, say, SD, or getting it from, you know, Shoe Surgeon or Xyla or whoever, you'd be getting it either in acrylic or on paper. So either way, your first step would be printing it, cutting it, and in my case, or in the case of anybody else with a Cricut, it'd be scanning it and then cutting that scan. So I guess that should be the way we do it here. I was gonna go and just use the PDFs that Mark sent me, but I think it makes more sense for us to go ahead and do it the right way. Well, not the right way, but the whole way, you know. So part of the reason why this thing is in beta is he's got to work out the kinks of this stuff, where you can see that there's a bit of missing pieces. But like I said, if it looks good, it is good. Because you got to think about, like, oh no, what if that's not precise? But then at the same time, I'm gonna put piping over that anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal, you know. We're you know, we're gonna be fine. So as long as we get clean cuts, and as long as the edges look good, and as long as we look at it and from here, you know, does that look like a tongue, and does it look clean? Sure, of course it does. So I'm not worried about it. So let's see, where else do we need to do this? We've got this scoop got cut off a little bit. This one got cut off a little bit. Right now I'm all like babbling at you guys, but I'm sure like a couple weeks in, we're just gonna be working, and like I'm gonna be like just heads down, or not heads down, but like we'll be in the groove of it, so you know we won't be tripping as much. But like I said, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, or if something is like we're just over it and it doesn't make sense, just tell me to stop. It's just because of the print border. Yeah, exactly, dude. Which, like I said, if someone was going to print it in an A3, it wouldn't be a problem. So this in this case was a letter, and it was just because it was a rushed, you know. But it's just not ready yet. So we were just going to make it work for what we need to make it work for. But once you get this the production version of these patterns, they'll print fine, and this won't be an issue, you know. This one, I have a feeling. Am I allowed to have like music on? I guess I can if I'm gonna put it on YouTube later, huh? I can't. That'd be a bummer if I like put some tunes on to listen to right now, but then like I got it shut down for that. The liner is good. Do you think the liner is good right here, dude? It looks like, oh, maybe it's close. Yeah, I'll change. Is this not cut off right here? Or no? No, I guess it looks fine. Yeah, you're right. Okay, good. So the first thing I'm typically doing when I get a pattern is scanning it. The way I will do that with a normal, like a paper pattern, not a normal paper pattern, but if you get a paper pattern from SD or from whoever that's already cut out, I usually use a black piece of cardstock or construction paper or whatever. Probably have some over here somewhere. And then just double-sided tape, stick that on there, and then use a inline scanner like this. In this case, things are a little easier because they're in a 8 by or in a letter size. Come on, bro. See, I don't really need to be doing this because I have like I said, the PDFs that Mark sent. But what I do want to do is these ones that are gonna fix the print border issue, so I don't have that problem when I go put it into the Cricut. Oops. There we go. Is that that is an Epson? Yes, that is an Epson, Eric. It's a cheap little guy that I got from Best Buy, I think on what do you call it, on Black Friday for $40 or something like that. It's served me pretty well so far. Okay. So I'm just opening the scan stuff from the scan software. Here, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the whole desktop on. Oh, shit. We had a little bit of incursion there. Okay, so Sorry, I'm just saving these scans, and then we'll go ahead and create silhouettes in Photoshop, and then we'll image trace them in Illustrator. We'll get them in a Cricut and see about cutting some stuff. Like I said, this is probably the longest, most boring part. All right, let's see. Is that showing up? Okay, it is. We're good. I guess you guys promised me if I was not live anymore, you'd say something or whatever, so I'll believe you. Oh, but I know what's wrong. Hold on, a little bit of weirdness. Give me a sec. That's better. Okay, so cleaning this stuff up. So basically, we're just going to take that whole thing, we're going to create a new layer. I'm going to fill it with black. Oops. With black. And if we get rid of this thing, now we have a piece that's ready to go. So I can export this. As toe lining. I can open Illustrator. I'm sure there's a way to do this in Photoshop. I don't use Creative Suite anymore. I'm a designer for a living. I haven't used Creative Suite in so long because I design mostly UI. So I work in Sketch almost exclusively as far as pixels and vector are concerned. But in the old days, I definitely used Creative Suite. It was just a long, long time ago. So if anyone sees me doing weird Creative Suite stuff, that's just because I don't. I mean, yeah, whatever. It works, man. If there's better stuff, you guys tell me how to do it. Okay, let's see. We're gonna open the, what did I just call that file? Oh, toe liner. that bad boy up. Chill it out. Image trace it. Export as SVG. Open our Cricut. We're gonna go ahead and create a new window. You love Illustrator. I don't know, I mean, honestly, dude, like Illustrator, I used to use Illustrator every day, all day long. That was my job, using Illustrator. But every time I open up anything Adobe for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I'm just dumbfounded that I thought it was it was good at any point. It's got a bunch of awesome, I mean, it's obviously got good features, but like how do I say that? A UI that's been an evolution of the same UI for the past like 30 years or something like that is obviously going to have a bunch of legacy crap in it that's going to make it just kind of clunky and old and weird if you aren't like an everyday user. So like once I stopped being in Illustrator like all the time every day, I stopped being so fluent in it, and then it started being like this big, complex mess compared to other vector software. But could be just my opinion, and maybe it's me being biased as a UI designer, but that's me. So in the Cricut, we're gonna go. It all depends on how you how you do that. This stuff, sometimes you can get a PDF and it'll scan, and you can load it right in here and it'll be the right size. What I like to do though, to make absolutely sure, is take measurements, and then I print cuts to figure out that it's exactly the right size. So I bring tone liner SVG. Oops, we left the background on there. That was my bad. Man, the Cricut software, speaking of bad UIs, sorry, Cricut people, if you ever hear me saying this, but if you want to fix your terrible UI, that's literally what I do for a living. Hit me up, and I will consult for you and fix all of your horrible problems, because this thing is so bad. It does its job, and I'm sure all the craft moms that cut out their Christmas cards on this thing or whatever, that you see on YouTube trying to teach me how to use this thing when I first got it, I'm sure they love this thing and it works out great for them. But man, is this software just lacking, like little stupid stuff, like why can I possibly not copy this, switch to this other instance, and paste? Why can't I paste that? What the hell is wrong with these people? Give me a break. That would be life changing. Give me a break. So like I have some that are like these like splintered messes that like I have, half of the pattern is in one file and half the pattern's in this other file, because I changed something after the fact or whatever, and I can't just copy from one to another. So it's just, I don't know, It's silly. Eric's with me, dude. So bad. Carne, I agree. Universal or user interface for Cricut software is like Windows 95. Yeah, dude. Windows 95 would be. See, that's the thing is like honestly, I think this software is made to be all like looking new and fresh and trying to pretend like it's cutting edge, but it's kind of a cover for just a not very feature rich stuff. I suspect if they have a like in-house engineering team, that they have a very long backlog of enhancements that they'll probably never get to because they're doing some new product that's for the craft moms later on. Okay, so man, it's a good thing I don't sell my shit because I would probably get myself in trouble spouting off the way I spout off about stuff. Someone was telling me the other day, or yesterday, or hold on a sec, let's switch back over. Was it yesterday? Yeah. They were. I showed them the insoles for the Corona dunks, and they're like, "Dude, you're gonna get yourself into trouble." And I'm like, "I mean, I guess, but what are they gonna do? Boycott me? I don't even sell my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?" So I guess I could show you guys this. I promised I would do a sneak preview, huh? Is the Cricut the only desktop electronic cutter like that? No, I think Mark has one called the Silhouette. There's a couple other ones that are out there that are good, that work. If I was gonna do this again, or if I had more space, I might get like a bigger, cooler, more industrial size, like drag knife plotter, which is what that is. So this is a craft mom version of a drag knife plotter, which usually go for a little bit more money. I guess if you think of it in terms of most of the equipment in my studio here is some version of an XY controller or a XYZ controller, right? So you have a 3D printer is an XYZ controller with a filament head. Let's see, a Cricut is an XY controller with a knife on the end of it. This printer up here actually is X, Y, and Z even, because it's got like this Z control where it can detect how big how thick the medium is. What else? Oh, the embroidery machine. Embroidery machine is an XY controller with a sewing machine at the end of it. It's all the same thing, you know. Yeah, exactly. The one that you use for sign making, honestly, it's the same exact thing, dude. Like, I'm sure you could probably use. Yes, exactly. So like, Cricut, exactly, man. All of my stuff in here besides the sewing machine and the artisan is just craft mom stuff. I got a craft mom serger, I got a craft mom Cricut, I got a craft mom embroidery machine, but like they all get down, they all do the job. I mean, the craft mom embroidery machine did these, right? Here, let's see, let's switch to the view where I can do it with no lag. So I guess here's our sneak preview. Coronavirus dunks. Done. I'm pretty hyped on these, man. Like, how do I say that? Like, you kind of don't get your hopes up the whole way through because you could, like, making shoes is a bummer sometimes because, like, or high stress sometimes because at any point you could just mess the whole thing up real bad, right? Like, this one stitch right here could go sideways and then the whole thing is just fucked or it's just not, it's not perfect. So I wasn't really getting my hopes up or whatever. But yeah, man, I'm really hyped on them. I think they turned out really good, and I mean, they're not even done yet. I've got to do the all the packaging and stuff, which is going to be the next more exciting part. But anyway, yeah, I was showing somebody these, and they were laughing. I'll show you guys. Because, like I said, man, I mean, I can be as controversial as I want to, because I don't sell anything. And who am I trying to bum out? You know what I mean? Or not trying to bum out. But I'm pretty stoked on how these turned out. Friends and family, please no box. I'm good. Yeah, you wish, bro. You know, I mean, as much as like I'd love to do production runs of these things, I think some of the special parts about the way I'm gonna do all these drops is that like I mean, as limited as it gets, right? So it's always gonna be three, like three total that get made. One that's mine and goes in my collection. One with the special box, and then one with the normal box. And then the special box ideally is like, you know, we start the bidding high and we go for you know, people that are either, you know, care about the cause that we're trying to work for, or people that you know, care about dunks or care about whatever shoes we're making or whatever it is. And then the other one, the normal box, you know, it's like $10 to whatever our charity is, and you get a shot at it. And it's not like the whole the raffles that we're all used to doing, where it's like, all right, man, you won the opportunity to give me a couple $100 to buy this thing. Like, it's not gonna be like that. These are gonna be $10. You win it. Here's your pair. Well, not immediately, but you win it. You tell me your size, and in 6 to 8 weeks you get your pair of shoes. You know what I mean? And so I think that's gonna be exciting, man. That's gonna be some fun stuff. And anyway, but yeah, so the Craft Mall machines, they do good. They can get things done, surprisingly, you know. Oh, you want to check out? Let's see if we can see them in glow in the dark one. Oh, I don't know if I can turn the computer off. No, you can't really see it. Never mind. Computer's ruining that. Anyway, yeah, so that's the sneak preview of the coronavirus dunks. That's the only one. I think I'm probably not going to show them off much until we have the packaging and stuff done, because I want to just come out strong with this first campaign and hopefully see if we can, you know, catch a little juice in the sneaker news and stuff like that, and actually make a big impact with, you know, helping some people and stuff. So hopefully that'll work out. Let's see who else in here. Who did your insoles, Eric? Bro, you know the answer to that question, Eric. Come on. Who did everything on every shoe I ever did? What donor pair? Yeah, the donor pair was the Night of Mischief. When I sourced my translucent AJ1, did I reach out to rep factories? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what a rep factory is. I've never heard of something like that. But I do know that if there was such thing as like that, and I were to reach out to one, it would probably be to the best one who does the best reps. But like I said, I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. All right. All right, so like I said, what I typically do here is I will measure these things out. It takes a little more time to do it that way, but I think it's worth it. Instead of just I guess the reason I say that is I've just trusted that the PDF was right before, and I ran into a problem there, and had some very wonky looking dunks that I'll never show you guys. So in this case, unfortunately, the Cricut only lets you use freaking American measurements, which is a bummer. So we're looking at like 7/7/8 here. So then basically what I typically do is I'll zoom in on this a little bit. And again, these are all kind of workarounds because the Cricut software is just as bad as it is. So I'll use the grid lines to adjust like some corners of the pattern piece until I've got them where I know I've got the longest point of each of them, or of the dimension, and then I'll resize. So let's see, 7/8. Oh, duh. And that should be the right size for our new liner piece. This hole shouldn't. Well, that hole won't matter because it's going to be under the lasting line. But that being said, I don't see any reason to make the machine cut it. Well, I guess that's the thing is it. Okay, so here's maybe that's another thing I should just touch on real quick. Let's see. Okay, so another thing that you want to pay like super close attention to that you might figure out the hard way, like I did early on, is just because your pattern pieces look the same doesn't mean they are the same, and they could be off by a little bit. It might be a couple of millimeters between the medial side and the lateral side, but those millimeters make a difference on the how the last is shaped and how the sole is shaped and that sort of thing. So eventually you could have accidentally switched two things, right? Like everything will be for sure from the left side pattern or from the right side pattern, and you put all and you accidentally flipped the mud guard or something like that. It'll be off and it'll feel off and it won't last right, and it'll look awkward and that sort of thing. Or if you switch even though the medial quarter panel and the lateral quarter panel look the same, if you switch the sides and you accidentally put the inside on the outside, and on it'll be drastic difference. So the reason why Mark has put this hole here is so I know that's the inside of the pattern piece. We can cut that with as since it's below the line there, we can cut it and it's not that big of a deal. But what I'd rather do is remember that using colors or something like that, because later on, if we look at, say, this swoosh or these eyelets or whatever, I'm not sure. They might. Once we assemble this thing, we might find that those are overlapped by other things. But it seems to me that you know, I'll have to ask Mark. Maybe once I look at this thing, I'll realize that these are both. It could be that this is overlapped by the heel tab, and that this is overlapped up here by the lining or something like that. But or maybe also by the heel. I don't know, but. My guess here is that it's going to be easier, at least for me, or my instinct would be if I didn't have, if I wasn't friends with the guy that made the pattern, my instinct would be to close it. So the way I would do that is just adding another shape over it, welding, and being good to go, right? So knowing that we're always going to need 2 of these, what you could do is flip one and recolor it. But here's the thing. So right now, we're not at that stage yet. So I guess what you'll notice, and I know that I'm trying to remember who did this. Eric, was it you that did this, man? That cut their pattern pieces out. So the first step here is we're gonna load the actual pattern in, and that's gonna have the marking the marking holes and stuff like that in them. So when you so we can actually use it as a pattern. Yeah, there's Eric. He said yes. Exactly. The problem is if we cut leather with this, it will also cut these holes into the leather. See, he knows. So the first step in my mind is taking a paper pattern or taking whatever pattern that you've got and making a reusable pattern that you're going to be able to just print out another one as often as you want. Do not leave those lines. Yeah, exactly. Do not leave those lines when you cut your material. So I guess, well, people asked about the durability of patterns in the first place. Like whether you want acrylic ones or whether you want paper ones or whatever it is. Honestly, I don't think it matters, because the best part about having these things is that you can just remake more of them, right? So for me, it's even better because I have the Cricut, and the Cricut can cut like really cool, good ones out of like craft board or whatever. And you can tell I don't like work for Cricut or anything because of how much shit I was talking on them earlier, but it does do pretty good work on especially on these things. So what I typically do is I'll load all these things into thanks Eric, man, I'll see you soon, Doug. I'll load all these things into the Cricut. I'll cut out a pattern like this first, and then we'll go back in there and I'll fill the pattern holes and make it cuttable by the Cricut for the actual material, you know. Okay, what time is it? It's 9:09. All right, let's see. So I guess, okay, let's just cut one of these things real quick. And show exactly that. The Cricut also will, like, I mean, if you want it to, you can use like a pen attachment on the thing to write the names of stuff on these, which I kind of like doing, mostly because it'll show me which side is up. You don't need them 2 tons for stencils. Yeah, of course, dude. I was just showing. Oh, well, I guess that does make sense. All right, Matt. Thanks, man. I think we're probably gonna cut it pretty soon here, anyway, and pick it up in next week, and maybe by what I'll do is between now and like maybe what I'll do is I'll cut this thing here. We'll finish this piece up, but then I'll do the rest of the pattern pieces between now and next week, and when we get to next week, we'll be able to start just straight cutting and actually building stuff, if that makes sense. That way we don't have to sit through the rest of this stuff, unless then you guys are all like down. But I think we've had enough of like that. When did I start? I started at 8. Does that sound cool? I mean, Matt, you seem down, but like I said, I'll just go keep going on this. We'll cut this pattern out. And then we'll cut it for tonight, and I'll cut the rest of the pattern out, get the rest of the pattern loaded in the Cricut, and then we'll so you don't have to sit there and watch the rest of that stuff. And then next week we'll start from something good. So let's see. And Mark is right. We don't need 2 of those things. I was just trying to show that if we were cutting these things and there was not a stencil, if it was not a pattern, if it was the actual piece, we would, if it was actual piece, we would be able to just flip it over and change the what do you call it? Color. So let's go ahead and put some writing on there. Might as well. Attach all these. Oops. Forgot to change these to draw. That would have been bad. We would have cut those. all. I forgot how to do that. I don't really care right now. All right, so we're gonna roll out the paper. Stick that in the Cricut. Try to get the Cricut to recognize itself. There it goes. Sometimes it just sits there for like forever, which is cool. We're gonna go with, oh, not light cardstock, it's craft board. Craft board. Fine point blade is already in there. And press the button. Do I have enough things on my dock? Vivek, bro, if you're gonna come at me like that, dude, come at me in the Twitch in front of everybody, not on Slack in a DM so you could hide. I see you. Do I have enough things in my dock? No. There's important things. They're all important. This is for playing music, and this is for streaming to you guys, and this is for setting up my streaming to you guys, and this is also for streaming to you guys. I don't know what that is. That's definitely not important. Let's take that out. We can take that out. Oh, wait. We're looking at the top-down view right now, huh? Oh, whatever. You'll be happy to know I took something out of my dock, but there was only one thing that was not useful and important. Mark, I realized after the fact that I needed to cut the hole in the marker because this is just a pattern, and it's probably just that it's getting late and I've been talking too much. But I did figure it out, so at least that, right? All right, while we're doing that, I can grab some liner to cut. We'll do that later. All right. So best way to take these off is by flipping these things over and twisting the mat, because twisting the mat will go back to straight. Twisting your board will twist the board and it'll be twisted forever. And we have pretty close to perfect. So sweet. Okay, so I think, yeah, dude, of course, man. How many hours do I work software and shoemaking a week? Every hour, all hours. Most hours. If I'm not in the gym or climbing rocks or sleeping, I am designing software or making shoes currently. So a lot of hours, I guess, is the answer to that question. Okay, so today's lesson, I guess, that we got through is how to get a paper pattern that you got in the mail from whoever you got it from into your computer, so you can make yourself a reusable cardstock pattern for later on. Between now and sorry, Tosh, apparently. Oh, yeah. As does Mackie. Mackie is part of the. Both of them are part of the shoes. Who do you think pays for all this stuff, man? Me? Come on. That's Tosh is the sugar mama in the other room over there. Obviously. Come on, Vivek. Okay, sorry. So we're off track here. We figured out how to make a pattern, and next week I'm gonna put all the rest of them in the Cricut. We'll cut the pattern out for the project, which is going to be these Jordan 1 lows from ME Customz, using some olive soles for my wife. We got some olive leather over here that the light probably doesn't show you very well, but we'll get to that next week. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me, guys, on this first installment. And even though I guess it wasn't much of an installment, but I told you in the beginning that it was going to be a lot of me nerding out about shoes and rambling and talking shit, and a little bit of actually working. So what I'll probably, like I said, what I'll do is I'll make up for some of that time by next week, and get some of this stuff a little preloaded, and we'll get to actually cutting up shoes and stitching things and stuff like that. So hit me up in the Discord or on Instagram, etc., and let me know suggestions. And we talked about it last week, and you guys helped a lot. So we'll do it again this week, and see if we can come up with some more things to make it even better. But I'm hoping we're helping a little bit, and I'll see you guys all soon. George is asking important. Where is the after party? George, you know exactly where the after party is. It's on my OnlyFans, and it's for my OnlyFans, which is you and Vivek. And Anders, if he's around. And Mark, obviously. Alright, guys. I will see you next week, or on Discord or Instagram or whatever. And thanks for hanging out. Tosh, you don't need an OnlyFans because you are married to me, and I have one of these. So haha to all of those guys. Okay, bye.